Alrighty, welcome everyone to the October 7th MicroProfile Live Hangout. A link to the meeting minutes is in the chat. Thanks, John. And please click on the link and add your name to the list of attendees/contributors. Organization is optional. This meeting is being recorded and will find its way to YouTube, and it's everyone's shared responsibility to take notes. Okay, the spiel is kind of over. Sorry, I'm gonna do a separate quick check here with my Slack. But maybe Roberto will join a little bit later. We have Tarun on. So just because of the time zones, we may we'll have Tarun. Um, I'm assuming bring up tutorial related comments first. To let you know, Tarun,
Yes.
Emily could not make it today. She's at a conference and she presents, so
Okay.
she's unable to make it. But if there's something that you would like to bring up re regarding the tutorial, feel free to do
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Sure. So first thing is linking the microprofile tutorial. So the work for 6.1 version of microprofile has been completed. Everything is completed. I've created a ticket for linking the tutorial to the microprofile site. That ticket is still unassigned. So if you can assign that to someone, and there was a ticket 847, which was about that
Right.
microprofile tutorial, this ticket can be closed.
Yeah,
Uh,
okay. Just to let you know that
yes.
this is a topic that we typically cover in the marketing call, as opposed to the technical call. But
Yeah.
Ryan is going to do that. I mean, I could decide it to Ryan. But just to let you know that Ryan just kind of assumes that that's his role, and Ryan doesn't attend this call, but
Yes.
yeah, he'll be the one to
Sure.
actually execute on that.
Sure. Yeah. And you would have been aware that I've discussed this in the marketing call. I just came here because that time in the marketing call there was less audience. So I thought, yeah,
Right.
maybe I'll put that here. And then the other point was for microprofile 7.1, I discussed with Emily about
Mhm.
no, that new chapters, 3 new chapters to be created and 2 chapters to be updated. For starting the work on this, she told me that she'll confirm and get back. So I'm awaiting that final confirmation from her.
Yeah, we'll try and have that conversation in the next marketing call and bring it up in the steering committee call because it's a spend, right? That for us is a decent amount of spend. Um, so last week's steering committee call was didn't really happen. We didn't have quorum, so we didn't talk about anything of significance. So yeah, I'll work with Emily and we'll drive this these two issues.
Sure. Perfect. Then that's all from my side.
Okay. Thanks for joining, Tarun.
Thank you.
Okay. Um, Roberto did not join the call. Do we have anyone? I don't think we have anyone waiting. So, I was going to ask him about the Open API status and the status of the staging repo. Those are two items. I did not check on those before I started the call. Um, so if he joins during the call, then we'll get a status update on those. Um, I think I am going to. Okay, I'll talk about the steering committee call briefly. So we did not really have a quorum. I mean, I forgot who joined late. We actually achieved quorum, a decent amount of time, 15 minutes maybe into the call, but it really wasn't given the discussion topics, right, around the future of MicroProfile, I didn't think we really had enough of a quorum. I'm barely making it. I'm going to try and push harder for more broad attendance next week. So we punted the call, and we're going to try and have the call this upcoming, well, a week from now during the live hangout. So I'm going to send out more frequent reminders. I sent one literally just before this call, where the top two items are the 8,000 discretionary marketing budget that we have to spend. And Tarun, kind of a chunk of that would potentially go to the tutorial. So that was topic one. The second topic, of course, is MicroProfile and Jakarta EE, right? Trying to move that ball forward. Um, so please, if you're a steering committee member that's on this call, try and make that call next week. Sharon sent out to the steering committee alias. I think it was a steering. I'm pretty sure it's a steering committee email alias. The 2026 annual program and financial planning cycle, right, in timeline. So basically, this is how we plan for the following year, in this case, 2026, and provides a timeline for when we should have things done, right? Mid-October is draft marketing and program plans for MicroProfile. I think what I'd like to do, while the status of MicroProfile and Jakarta EE is still being discussed, and well, I'd like to do some planning as if we were going to have a program plan and budget for next calendar year. Unless, until we don't, if that happens. So I'd like to kind of continue as if things were going to happen next year. In that regard, well, so you can see here, mid-October, right? We have to have a draft of the program plan, right? We haven't really talked about, again, as if we were moving forward. I guess maybe this is impossible. I don't know, but what the technical goals that we want to have in 2026. So this slide deck that I've got here for the program plan is literally just a copy with a date change of the 2025. I didn't try and go in and change anything as of yet. So that, with that being said, and we could treat this as, what do we want to happen in 2026 for MicroProfile? But even if MicroProfile were to move to Jakarta, there's potentially some things that we might still want to do, right? It doesn't mean the things that we want to do technically would go away, right? They just might be done in a different context, I guess. Maybe that's one way of addressing the technical goals for 2026. So I guess my question is, does anyone have any thoughts about the technical goals for 2026? Open mic.
Maybe new features for config. Roberto was planning some updates.
All right. Yeah, we don't have that listed here. And even if config were to move over in support of Jakarta EE12, those new features might still be relevant, right? Which kind of gets my earlier comment. We don't have
Yeah,
Roberto on
especially
this.
if we do
Mhm.
them in MicroProfile first before we move it over.
Oops. Do I have edit? Yes, I do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tag Roberto on this. That's not it. All right. Okay, I'll have to tag him later. It's not auto completing his email. So I'll tag Roberto on this. Maybe I'll for now I'll just actually add a comment that doesn't assign it to Roberto. Okay. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign this to me. I don't have, I'll use my Red Hat email for now. Okay. I'm gonna make this full screen, I think. Can I do that here? Maybe I can't when I am in sharing mode. The icon's not there. I think these three things. I think this one is no longer applicable. Because the conversations are happening regardless. So I'd like to remove that one. So for now, I'm just going to do a strike through. Resolve config alignment, that's going to stay. JWT spec. Again, that one I think is still valid, although there's discussion that if MicroProfile moves into Jakarta, then that would be integrated with a security spec, I think, was the last I heard about that. So I'm going to leave that as is for now. Emerson's not on the call, so I can't comment on this one. And I think for improve alignment with infrastructure for better end user experience, I think this had a lot to do with JVM support and maybe spec features could be updated in a new MicroProfile release to leverage newer language features. So I still think this is a valid one, regardless, but that would require a new major release next calendar year. So if we were going to do that. I don't think anything else here has changed. We didn't really make any progress. I think a lot of the reason is because of discussions around Jakarta and MicroProfile. Is there any other thoughts off the top of our head about technical goals in 2026? I know it's dominated by the Jakarta discussions, but that aside. Okay. All right. Going back to the technical discussion, or sorry, the meeting agenda. No, I'll save it for the steering committee call. I think for now, this is really all I had, kind of filling in for Emily with today's discussion. Are there any other thoughts for today's call?
John, I had one question. In that
Mhm.
2026 slide, you had an item, feature gaps with Spring Framework.
Mhm.
So is that the goal that MicroProfile wants to have feature parity with Spring Framework, or what exactly is that?
Yeah, so I think the idea there is it's not necessarily feature parity, but are there valuable things that the Spring community has, or are there things in the Spring community that would be of value to Jakarta as well, or sorry, MicroProfile
Okay.
developers, right? So you can think, um, we have MicroProfile AI, right, which we kind of started as a discussion. There was the Spring Data repository pattern that ended up in Jakarta, right? But that was a useful thing for our general ecosystem, MicroProfile/Jakarta, right? So it doesn't have to be 100% parity, but it is to, I think, understand what Spring developers value that might be um, of value in our community, and then
Okay.
maybe some Spring developers would find our communities, if we want to see them as two separate ones, in Jakarta and MicroProfile, to be of value to them, right? So that's more of what it is as opposed to like 100% parity.
Sure.
So good question. Any other comments? Alrighty, steering committee call next week. We'll probably again the budget and the Jakarta discussion will be the two primary ones for next week. All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Ed.